What makes a real whistleblower? AJ from the Y-Files recently had a clip go viral online talking about whistleblowers and what makes a real whistleblower.
But something's going on. I've seen videos. Most, I don't believe the whistleblowers. I don't believe anyone from Air Force intelligence. I don't believe any of that. And if you have a book out, I don't believe what you're saying. If you're cleared by the DOD,
I definitely don't.
I definitely don't. If you still have clearance and you're still a contractor and you're still working with DOD, I can't. You're not a whistleblower. You're doing PR. So, with all due respect, I don't believe you guys. Matthew Brown, I think his last name is Brown. He's kind of a compelling whistleblower because he doesn't go over the top. He just says, "I found evidence of something going on in space," and that's really all he says.
Now, these comments that AJ made aren't the first time that he said this, and I have to be honest, I like AJ's take. And one of the very first, the very first viral video I ever had was actually covering AJ from the Y-Files saying something very similar about David Grush. Take a look.
Here's something else. In 2006, a book came out that blew the whistle on everything. It's called The Black World of UFOs, Exempt from Disclosure. It talks about government cover-ups, sensitive DIA and CIA documents, reverse engineering alien spacecraft. All the great UFO stories are in this book.
I love it. What's the problem?
It was written by Collins and Doty.
Condor and Falcon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Look, I believe UFOs exist, and I believe we have recovered craft. But I'm skeptical of anyone who's worked in intelligence, because once you're in, you're never out. Whatever's being said about UFOs by people like Doty, Putoff, Elizondo, David Grush, I take all that with a grain of salt. These are not whistleblowers. These are people who spent most of their careers in intelligence. The things they say, they're allowed to say. They have permission.
Permission from who?
Well, isn't that the big question?
And it goes even further because when I was covering the Michael Herrera story, I actually reached out to AJ for a comment about Michael Herrera, and he gave me an on-record statement, which I included in my video. And he had this to say about Michael Herrera.
And one person who I wanted to get their opinion on this story was AJ from the Y-Files. So I emailed him, and this is what he said. I distrust anyone who spent any time in military intelligence. Once you're in, you're never out. Unless I see hard evidence, my first reaction is PSYOP. I want to be wrong, but I wasn't wrong about Doty, Elizondo, Putoff, etc. And I don't think I'm wrong about Grush. Herrera, I don't have enough info. But if he's intel, his story is Pentagon-approved, just like the Tic Tac video was approved. And it's just an airplane. Now, some of you may have just had an aneurysm, and others may agree with AJ, and some of you may just agree with parts of it, but that's up for you to decide.
AJ even left this comment on my YouTube channel. He said, I want to be wrong. You can't be a whistleblower when the Pentagon approves everything you say. To me, it sounds like Grush is doing PR or is part of another DOD PSYOP. Again, I want to be wrong. I don't think I am, but I really want to be. So basically everything that AJ's been saying about whistleblowers, and if they're approved by the DOD, they're not really whistleblowers, right? He's been saying that a long time, and a lot of people agree with him, and more people are starting to agree with him. I would say about a year and a half ago when I put that video out of him saying that about David Grush, initially people were like, what the, AJ doesn't, it's crazy. And now a lot of people agree with exactly what he's saying. And let's just break that down. He's basically saying you're saying what you're allowed to say. How are you whistleblowing? So you're going to whistleblow about the government and then go to the government and say, hey, what can I say about my whistleblowing? What am I allowed to say? Right? That doesn't make any sense. Right? Did Edward Snowden go to the DOD to get approved? Right? A real whistleblower? I mean, what does a whistleblower mean then anymore, right? Has it lost all of its value and meaning? And just anyone's a whistleblower that comes out with a story about the government and no evidence or proof, just story? Because all you ever hear is, yeah, he's credible. I trust him. These are guys I trust, It's just not enough. It's just not enough. And look, what's also interesting is what AJ said at the very end of that viral clip, because he talked about Matthew Brown being different. And I agree. Matthew Brown is a little bit different. And what's interesting about Matthew Brown is he just opened this Substack, which I'm going to put a link to down below, and he's coming out saying more things. It's just very interesting what he's saying now, right? He's coming out, he's being honest, he's opening a Substack. I haven't seen any other whistleblowers do that. So Matthew Brown is kind of in a different boat, and that is kind of interesting. So we'll have to wait and see with Matthew Brown. Will he testify at the September 9th hearings? I don't know, right? Maybe. He's only done the one interview with Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp, but maybe he'll do more. All I'm saying is there's something to what AJ was saying, and I completely agree with him. And I'd love to hear the arguments down in the comments below why you think they are, if you disagree, right? Why you think they're a whistleblower if they got approved by the DOD. And if the answer is, well, they're just trying not to go to jail. I mean, I don't think a whistleblower really worries about that. That's the whole point. You might go to jail. It's like you're not really whistleblowing. You want the red carpet rolled out for you. Again, without providing proof or evidence. It can't be trust all whistleblowers. Now, it can be listen to all whistleblowers. Of course, we should listen to anybody. That doesn't mean we need to trust them and keep investing in them. I think we should listen. Step one, listen. Absolutely. Open-minded, happy to hear any story. Step two, okay, now that I've heard your story, what evidence or proof do you have to back any of this up? If the answer is nothing, or it's classified, or this or that, then you say, okay, well, go to the back of the line. Next. I mean, what are we supposed to do? It can't be, well, whistleblowers are afraid. Some of those things are true, but you can't just ride on the back of it because then you're just manipulating us, right? The audience. Again, I feel all whistleblowers should be whistleblowing, not approved by the DOD. And I get that there's concerns of retaliation and all these things. I get that. Those are real concerns, right? And going to jail, this and that, and class of, okay. But again, don't need to go through doxer. That doesn't equal the two, in my opinion. And you may disagree, and that's okay, and that's the conversation. You can disagree. I still respect your opinion, and hopefully you respect mine. We can think about this however we want, personally. Right? Because I have a feeling I'm going to get attacked in the comments for just agreeing with AJ here. I'm sorry. I just do. I prefer citizen disclosure over government disclosure. I'm leaning towards that more and more and more because, again, there's just this filter. If we're saying the government is lying to us and suppressing all this, then we're going to the government to see what we can say about it. I mean, again, tell me how that makes any sense. Imagine a cartel boss and someone that works for the cartel boss is going to testify against them, right? The prosecution comes as, okay, you're going to testify against the cartel boss, right? And then that witness goes to the cartel boss and says, hey, what am I allowed to say about you? I'm going to testify against you, but what am I allowed to say? That's exactly what's happening. Right? I mean, that makes no sense. You would never do that. So why would you, if you're going to whistleblow against the government, why would you go to the government to ask them what you're allowed to say? How do you not know what's classified or not? You were told it's classified. So if you weren't told it's classified, it's not classified. You know what I mean? It's like, whatever. Anyway, I'll put links in the description to everything. Let me know what you think in the comments again. I'm very curious. And we'll see you guys on the next video. Remember, every day's a gift, y'all. Peace.